There's a bunch of people here. I ain't gonna be able to. Okie dokie, folks. Upon request, I had a guy on YouTube ask me to track my logbooks for a week as I do them. So I just came off days off. The last day that I drove, I did my post trip at 11 a.m. and then I had the rest of the day off. And then on the 17th, I didn't work whatsoever, so everything is off duty. The reason why I'm starting here is because at 11 o'clock to 11 o'clock the next day, wherever the hell it is on the camera, is 24 hours. Add 10 to that, that gives you your 34 hours. And it's always good to put a flag. You don't have to put where it's at because you're off duty. I usually do. And then just put 34-hour reset. And then at that point, all your previous days go to 0. Your total hours is 0, and you have 70 hours that you can drive. You still have to have all your columns add up to 24. Of course, you should have 3 zeros and 24 in the top column. Now, if your logbook is like this and it has a driver's daily vehicle inspection report, don't fill it out because you weren't in the truck this day. You cannot verify that the truck is okay. For all you know, somebody stole the truck and it now has been crashed into a building. And then, of course, your miles for the day should be 0. Okay, so we're on to the next day here, and it's the 18th. I haven't finished out the day yet because it's only about 4:30, and I can't look into the future and know that I'm absolutely not going to drive. For all I know, the pilot that I'm at here could blow up, and I have to drive to get to safety. And of course, I would have to log that. And of course, I put down the 2 trailers that I had today. Today I did my pre-trip at 2:15 in Modesto, California. You always put the state after the city. Turn my CB off. I did my pre-trip. Half an hour pre-trip. You never want to log less than a half an hour because DOT is probably going to ask you, why don't you show me how you do a proper pre-trip in under half an hour. And then I went to driving. And I drove for about 45 minutes, at which point I stopped in Livingston, California at the TA and I fueled up. You're on duty when you're fueling up. Minimum that you can have is 15 minutes for most companies, so on duty not driving. Then I drove for about an hour and 15, got down to Fresno, California. I was bobtailing this whole time, and then I hooked to a trailer. That's all you got to put is hook. You're not loaded. The trailer's already preloaded, so you just hook. 15 minutes because you have to pre-trip the trailer. And then I went off duty for 15 minutes because they have a little porta potty there that I used. And then I started driving all the way to 9 a.m. at which point I was in Frazier Park. If you all know where that is, that's about at the top of the grapevine. I did a safety inspection. And then I just kept driving for a safety inspection because they take less than 7 minutes. You don't have to go on duty not driving. You can just flag it. So I kept driving, and then at 11:15, I made it to Fontana, California, where I dropped the trailer that I hooked. And you don't have to flag any time for dropping a trailer because there's not a whole lot you got to do. You just get there, drop the trailer. And then I went off duty because I went inside and used the bathroom again. And then I went on duty driving. I went over to our Rancho Cucamonga terminal. Now you'll notice that I didn't flag anything there because I'm still at the same location. And so then I stopped driving. Rancho Cucamonga. I hooked to a trailer and I started driving. Hooked 15 minutes because you have to pre-trip the trailer. And then I'm driving all the way to 4:15, where I made it to Lost Hills. I went back over the grapevine, and I did my post trip. Depending on the company, they do want you to show every 3 hours a safety inspection. My company doesn't require that. DOT does like to see that, though, especially if it's a hazmat load. And this is where I went off duty for post-trip. I haven't filled out the rest of this day yet because, like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be forced to drive, whether it's legal or not. And of course, I have the bill of ladings for the 2 trips I did, the first trip I was on and the one I'm on right now. And I haven't done the vehicle inspection report until it's time to close out today. And that'll be next time I close. Good morning. It is about 6:30 or so on the morning of November 19th. You saw just a second ago up to my post trip here at Lost Hills on the 18th, where I went up to off duty, and I stayed off duty all the way till midnight. So for the day I had a total of 11.75 hours off duty, 0 hours just in the sleeper, 11 hours on the dot of driving, 1.25 hours of on duty not driving. That should equal a total of 24 hours. I drove 555 miles. Actually, it was 555.3, but you don't use the 0.3. So my total for yesterday was 12.7 hours off of my 70. So that takes us down to this morning, which is 11:19. I don't know how many hours I'm driving at today. Of course, my truck number, my driver code, the trailer I'm hooked to, and I stayed off duty all the way up till 6:30, where I'm doing my pre-trip, Lost Hills, CA pre-trip, and I'll be driving at 7, unless I fall down and break myself doing a pre-trip. Usually I don't do my logbook ahead like that, but for the video purpose, I don't want to get behind making the video for you guys. Usually the last thing I do before I start driving is doing the my logbook here. Also, you want to make sure you copy down your bill of lading for the next day. And so yesterday we did 12.25 hours. Of course, all the rest days are 0. So our total hours is 12.25. And so 12.25 off of 70 is 57. So we're finishing up the logbooks from the 19th. We did a total of 562 miles. We have both of our trailers on there. We went on duty at 6:30, pre-trip until 7 in Lost Hills, California. Then we drove up till 10 o'clock when we made it to Salinas, where we dropped our trailer. We were off duty for a little bit, and then we started driving. You don't have to log when you start driving, because you stopped at Salinas, you went off duty, and you're still there. So you're driving, and now you're going to be at a different location when you stop driving, and you're going to be in Fresno, California, where we hooked to a trailer. Then we drove again. We made it down to Tulare, where we did a safety inspection, and we fueled up, and then we drove again, and we made it all the way back down to Rancho Cucamonga, where we dropped and did our post trip, and then we went off duty for the rest of the night. So we were off duty for a total of 12 hours, 0 hours in the sleeper. We drove 11 full hours again, and we had 1 hour on duty not driving, total of 24. So yesterday we had a total of 12 hours. We had 57.75 hours that we could have driven. So now, of course, we filled out our daily vehicle inspection, and we signed our logbooks. Okay, so